Hello everyone, it's Dr. Sam. I'd like to welcome you to my EyeClarity podcast. This is a show that offers cutting-edge information on how to improve your vision and overall wellness through holistic methods. I so appreciate you spending part of your day with me. If you have questions, you can send them to hello@drsamberne.com. Now, to the latest EyeClarity episode. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam, and I'd like to welcome you to another EyeClarity podcast. I'm here in the Santa Fe National Forest, and I'm on a hike today. I thought I'd bring you along. So today's show, I'm going to take a question from a listener who's been following me, and she's an entrepreneur. She's a health practitioner. She has started her own e-commerce. She's written a book, and she wants to know what my strategies have been in building my brand. So this is a little different question, but it is inspired because, I don't know, many of you don't know this, but I am working for an organization now, all volunteer, and the organization is called SCORE. And this is a really fantastic group of retired business people who help local businesses launch and get off the ground. And I actually was a client of theirs for about 3 years, and they were helping me with certain aspects of my brand and business. But one of the things they noticed was that I had a certain mastery in the area of brand building, especially in using social media. And so this colleague of mine who asked this question, I thought I would put it out on my podcast. So, it's very interesting in the climate today, and it was really even amplified with COVID, and we couldn't meet in person. But I reflect back into 2016 when I decided I needed to expand my services, and I started to look into different social media platforms, and the one that I chose was Facebook. And I began posting on Facebook, and I was working with different professionals to help me develop my brand and my e-commerce store and so on. And it was so funny because when I first started, I did a Facebook Live show and nobody would come on. I had 0 followers and 0 people watching. So what I had to do is I had to take some questions that my patients would ask me, and I'd write them down, and I would answer them during the Facebook Live program. And so it was pretty funny, but over time, and this was very slow, I started to get a few people watching Facebook Live, and I started to do Instagram Live, and I just began posting every day. And I would do 4 to 5 posts. Some would be video, some would be pictures. And I observed over a period of about 6 months that I was starting to get a little traction. And what I mean by traction is that I was starting to get some people who were interested in what I was saying. So we fast forward about 5 years later, and of course things are going very well for me. And the organization SCORE has employed me to talk to some of their clients on the value of social media and how it can boost your business. Now, there are those out there who would say, oh, I want nothing to do with social media. There are political issues, and there are, all kinds of things going on. And I would agree with that. However, the way I see it is that I use social media to help educate people, create more value in their life. And I'm not really interested in any of the, the political things or the things that where there are some problems with social media, and there are. But you have the choice to turn it on or turn it off. And so you have to take responsibility if you want to do that, if you want to play the game. But I can tell you, and this is some of the advice I gave to my colleague, is that it's very good to engage with your community, answer their questions, give them value, be willing to spend some time creating content that will help them. I notice that some people who go on social media, it's all about them, and it gets to be a little narcissistic. Well, that's really not going to fly. At least at the beginning, you want to be able to give people value. You want to be able to give people information, and you don't want to charge them for it. That's another thing where when you're trying to build a brand, you want to be able to be the expert, and so give your advice for free. When I started to develop my website, I put all my eye exercises on there, all my protocols, and it's all free. You just have to go there and do the research, and it can really, really help you. So here are 3 things that I told this practitioner what I recommended to do. First of all, number 1, I think it's important to reduce the resistance so people can get your information. And what I mean by that is some people like to get their information by reading it. So that means writing a blog. Number 2, if some people say, I don't like to read, but I like to listen. I'm commuting or I'm in my car, then you do a podcast. And number 3, some people are really visual, like me. And so I like to do video blogs. Some people like to watch me on YouTube or Facebook. So that's a really important thing to note is I want to reach people. I don't want to, create a resistance to them. I want to make it easy. So I'm multi-sensory in how I'm putting out information. So that was the first piece of advice I gave her. The second piece of advice I gave her was that around her book had to do with nutrition and diet. And I said, what might be really great is go on your LinkedIn and look up people who would be interested in buying your book, professionals, and invite them on your podcast and invite them to talk about themselves, their specialty, how they got into it. And what that's going to do is cross-pollinate, and it's actually going to help you get known to them, and they will get known to you, and you will start cross-pollinating your community. And then finally, number 3, I said, it might be a great idea for you to do what I did, which is do a weekly live show on your favorite social media channel. So it could be YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. Pick one, and each one has its strengths and weaknesses, has different kinds of community, different types of content. It has been historically the TikTok is more of the shorter versions, although that's beginning to change, where something like the YouTube channel is more of the long form, and so those are longer videos. But whatever one you would like, start promoting your availability, even if it's just a half hour a week, and be open to answering questions. And also when you receive questions on your email, be willing to answer them and post them on your social media. So we call this organic reach. And you don't have to pay any money for any of this. And of course, budget is a big issue for her. She can't really afford advertising or even hiring other people. And this is what I did for about 3 years. I was actually the CEO, the fulfillment person. I did the advertising. I answered all the emails. Now I've got some employees who are doing many of those things, so I get to do the things I really like to do. But I did it all, and that's the way you learn. So listen, I hope that helps you, and it helps anybody else who's interested in building a brand. These are some of the things that I talk about when I'm speaking to some of the SCORE clients, and I love working with them. I love it that it's volunteer, and it's one of the missing things that I see in people trying to build businesses today, whether it's physical brick and mortar or just online, that it really starts by building the community first, and then you can start selling your things. But if you say write a book or you release a product, then you got to start trying to get community. It's kind of reverse in that way. It's a lot harder to do. Whereas if you build the community first and you build your brand, then people will organically and automatically want to buy your services, your products, your books, and so on. So that's our show for today. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something from the EyeClarity podcast show today. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. See you here next time.